Mr. Chairman, I seek recognition. Whoa, I seek recognition.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I heard Mr. Johnson say that school board meetings were places where MAGA Republicans come to congregate. And, you know, it might be what you call them, but we actually just call them parents when they show up to congregate at school board meetings. And it's quite possible that what's happened at those school board meetings has created a new generation of MAGA Republicans, of which I certainly associate, but it doesn't demonstrate any harm to our country. I also heard Mr. Johnson say that when Republicans invariably take over this committee after the midterms, that we will engage in harassing oversight of President Biden and his administration. Well, on behalf of all my Republican colleagues, let me promise you, we will not do anything worse to President Biden than what all of you did to President Trump. So that's our promise. You have moved the Overton window, and we indeed intend to get answers. I guess I'll be voting for this resolution of inquiry because I'm wondering if in my time in federal politics, there will be an election that the FBI isn't trying to influence. I mean, in the 2016 election, to hold the position that the FBI wasn't trying to influence the election, you would have to believe that an FBI lawyer changing evidence before a secret court to secure a warrant to engage in surveillance that never would have been justified otherwise to get close to the President Trump's campaign was not interference. But of course it was. And then we have the 2018 election where the FBI again creates all of this threat construction and fuels the Russia hoax and the Mueller investigation. And then we saw how fake all of that turned out to be when Robert Mueller's testimony before our committee looked more like a silver alert than a commission of a crime. And then you get to the 2022 election, right? Or I'm sorry, the 2020 election, where Mark Zuckerberg has recently said, the operator of the most powerful digital platform in American politics, the FBI literally came to him and said that he had to suppress information that 1 in 6 voters who voted for Joe Biden said would have changed who they would have voted for. So they interfered in 2016 with Trump. They interfered in 2018 with Mueller and the Russia hoax. They interfere in 2020 by suppressing the information. And now in 2022, yet again, the FBI shows up to create this cloud of criminality over a records dispute, over the great crimes of unfoldering and intermixing. It is ludicrous. And I just hope that if we authorize these resolutions of inquiry, I will get to see an election that the FBI isn't trying to influence or control in some way. The American people deserve an FBI-free election. And it's no waste of time to ask these questions. Indeed, they're the answers that the American people deserve. They're the questions that we get all over the country. And though these inquiries will be voted down today, the American people get to vote in November, and we're going to get the answers that they demand. I appreciate the committee's indulgence, and I yield.
Would the gentleman yield, Mr. Gaetz?
Yeah, I'll yield to Mr. Roy.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. I just want to remind the American people watching this, that in addition to what Mr. Gaetz just said, that why we're here with these resolutions of inquiry, I filed a resolution of inquiry last year regarding border statistics. For the American people's just understanding, what happens in the majority, you file it, it has to sit for 14 days, 14 legislative days before it then ripens. And then, you know, Congress should act on it in order to protect Article 1 powers and duties to request information of the executive branch. And what the majority does is change rules, and they change rules to essentially kill these resolutions of inquiry. So then we have to go back and refile them. So that's what's happened here. So I just want to make sure that's clear. You've had resolutions that were filed, then you had subsequent resolutions that are filed because games are being played with the rules to kill the desire by members of Congress exercising the Article 1 authority to seek information from the executive branch. Oh, the horror of a government founded on separation of powers for Article 1 to seek information from the executive branch. Again, I just want to bring this back to that core principle that what we're talking about here is seeking an unredacted copy of an affidavit. We're seeking information on border information. We're seeking information on what coordination occurred between the White House, the Department of Justice, and the National School Board Association to target American citizens. I yield back to the gentleman from Florida.
Yeah, and I thank the gentleman for his remarks. I mean, Democrats remember the FBI used to be a racist right-wing organization that went after people like Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King. Now they've become like a totalitarian left-wing organization raiding the homes of Trump supporters. Both is bad, and that's why Mr. Bishop's argument about perhaps decentralizing the power that has been overwhelmingly politicized and weaponized against both parties is probably a good thing that the Republicans will look at when we take control of this committee. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does anyone else seek recognition? If not, the question occurs on the amendment in nature of a substitute. This will be followed immediately by a vote on reporting the resolution. All those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment in nature of a substitute is agreed to. Reporting quorum being present, the question is on the motion to report the resolution H-Res 1325 is amended unfavorably to the House. Those in favor respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is ordered reported unfavorably. Roll call vote is requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Nadler?
Yes.
Mr. Nadler votes yes. Ms. Lofgren?
Yes.